When I joined this committee in 2007, no one could tell us how many contractors were in Iraq. There wasn't even a number available. As of June, we have approximately 75,000 contractors in Afghanistan and 5,200 private security contractors in Afghanistan. And the interesting thing, one of the stark differences between the contracting force in Afghanistan and that in Iraq is the predominance of Afghans in our contracting force. 50,000 plus of the contractors are Afghans, and 5,000 of the 5,200 private security contractors are Afghans. It's not clear to me whether this has been purposeful or situational. And I would, if briefly, any of you could address whether or not this is purposeful or situational.
Well, Senator, I share the experience you just described because in February when I asked to see a list of all the contracts in Afghanistan, at that time we couldn't produce such a list. And so we have been trying to not only get a handle on the contracts, but try to persuade contractors to employ more Afghans. So I think it's probably both. I think it is to some extent a message, but it's also just the reality of who is there and what the mission requires.
Let's talk a little bit about LOGCAP 4. Good news, we competed it. Good news, we ended up with 3 different companies that are eligible for contracts under LOGCAP 4. Not as good a news, I think. I understand the reality of why this probably occurred. We have now, instead of 1 monopoly on logistical support for our troops, we now have 2 monopolies in that we have given the contracts on a regional basis as opposed to a task basis. FLOR has gotten the north, DynCorp has gotten the south, and they are not task competing. They have, in fact, been selected, it's my understanding from the research we've done, to, in fact, do everything in those regions. I understand the efficiencies you get by doing that, but what it really brings up again is the incredible importance of monitoring and oversight. Because when you have one company doing all the work, even though it's not the whole contingency operation, it is within the north and the south. And what I was worried about is there was testimony this summer that we had 600 oversight positions vacant in Iraq and Afghanistan. It wasn't clear from the testimony that was given at the time how many of those positions were in Afghanistan, but are we plussed up to where we need to be with oversight and monitoring of these logistical contracts that cost us way more than they ever should have cost us in Iraq?
Well, as is often the case with these things, you're probably better informed than we are. But what I will tell you is I can almost certainly tell you we do not have as many contract monitors in Afghanistan as we want. And one of the things that that I have mentioned both at the White House and within the Department of Defense as we talk about 30,000 troops and so on is let's not forget about contract monitors, logistical experts, and so on to make sure that we're doing this right.